StormSmart can enhance and protect your home 365 days a year. With our smart hurricane and lifestyle products designed to keep the inside in and the outside out. And our over 100,000 plus installations, local manufacturing, comprehensive warranty, and the largest service department in the industry. Are you ready? Call now or visit stormsmart.com to schedule your free in-home consultation today and get guaranteed installation before hurricane season.
Time, weather, and highways.
How you doing, everybody? I'm Chief Meteorologist Dennis Phillips. Heat, still the hot topic of weather conversation, right? Just smashed the previous record for rainfall in Tampa. It's still a very nice day. We've got some clouds out there, even a couple of sprinkles as another front rolls through the area. Most of us wake up to sunshine and then very warm temperatures in the afternoon. Temperatures, they're going up and they're staying up. Really nice forecast, especially if you're planning on going to the beach or the pool. Rain chances very slim. Another beautiful day in store. It's going to bring us a very high chance of storms. Some isolated showers across the area. Mother Nature likes to remind us that it isn't set by a calendar. We're always on it for you just in case things begin to pop.
Streaming from the ABC Action Weather Center in Studio A. This is Dennis Phillips Live. Brought to you by StormSmart. Get guaranteed installation before hurricane season. And by Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
How you doing, everybody? It is a Tuesday night edition of Dennis Phillips Live. Notice we have our new sponsor, Generac Generators, in addition to StormSmart. Obviously, two businesses that are very weather and severe weather dependent, so the tie-in certainly goes well. So thanks again. We have obviously a kind of a quiet stretch after yesterday's severe weather, where we actually had an EF2 tornado touch down Longwood, just north of Orlando. We talked about it last week. While we didn't expect any widespread severe weather, we did say the threat of an isolated severe storm was not zero, and unfortunately that's what happened in the Orlando area. You know, it's interesting because more often than not, when we get severe weather across our area, specifically tornadoes, it seems like the majority of those often form and develop and strengthen across the interior part of our area, you know, areas east of Polk County, you know, the Orlando area and whatnot. We do see, and by the way, if you go back and look historically, 99% of the tornadoes in the state of Florida are EF0s. They're very little, and more often than not, they're waterspouts that can move onshore as a brief tornado. But every now and again, you actually get a strong front that could come through, and that typically happens in March. Well, January, February, March, April, sometimes in May, and then we long for cold fronts in the summer, which we rarely ever see, and we typically don't have to deal with it. By the way, maybe wondering where my blue hoodie is. I am not wearing my Rays jersey or my Rays hoodie in support of the Tampa Bay Rays, although you guys know that I've been a fan from day one. I just forgot my hoodie at home, went home to wash it and left it on the bed. So I don't have my hoodie. How you doing? We've got Pamela in Auburndale here. Stephen in Clearwater, good to see you, Steve. Jules, good to see you. We have got Jill, nice to see you. Marion Lellman, Karen Homosassa, Newport Richie's in the house with Carrie. Deborah, good to see you. Joanna in Spring Hill, and also in New York. So you're both from Spring Hill and New York. That it was a beautiful day today. Pat in Largo, good to see you. Tina in Brooksville, Riverview's in the house with Debbie. Five towns in St. Pete, that would be Nancy. Port of Tampa, Marie. Weeki-Wachi checking in from Sarah. Largo with Crystal, Temple Terrace, Marianne, and Denise. Are you poolside in Odessa, or is it a little bit too chilly for you, Denise? We've got Aaron in Riverview, Sean in Lakewood Ranch. Speaking of Sean Daly, you know him, you love him. Sean Daly, full of energy and vim and vigor, and he will be here tomorrow night on DPL Plus. And Sean's going to talk a lot about some new restaurants that he's been checking out, and maybe kind of sharing where some of the new hip spots are in the Bay Area. Sean is the king of hip. I am the king of dad shoes, so you clearly know hip would not be my middle name, and still have my socks on without my dad shoes. They're back behind the set. So we do have some weather to talk about, and we also have spring break coming in for the Bay Area. Now, my son is home for spring break. FSU's spring break is earlier this year than most everybody else's. Most everybody else's is next week. So we've got Carrie in Brooksville, Kathy in Hudson. Maddie, how you doing? Maddie Rock, as always, part of our original DPL group. Holidays in the house with Mike, Sylvia, nice to see you. Juliet in Lakeland, Lana Lakes with Kimberly, Indian Shores, Jane, Holiday, Patricia, Riverview, Victoria, Eastlake Woodlands area with Allison, Sarasota with an exclamation mark, Beth, Marianne in Clearwater, Marine, Port Richey. So lots and lots of folks here. Bonnie in Bartow, Brenda in Largo. Let's go ahead and jump into our severe weather threat across the deep south. So Dunedin's in the house with Patty. So we're going to start with day 4 here. So we are going to be talking about some severe weather threats, and this is a loop on it here. We're going to go individual day. So there's day 4, and then there's day 5. Now I want you to see something. As you go from one day to the next, look how it gets closer to Florida. So this is day 5, but day 6, you've got the Carolinas up to the mid-Atlantic, but notice what happens. It kind of fizzles out before making it into our area. So we can go ahead and kind of discuss that. So if you look at the entire day 4 through 8 here, so this is kind of what we're looking at here. This is the discussion from the Storm Prediction Center talking about what's in store for the deep south. I really feel as though by the time the front makes it here, it will weaken significantly. But as was the case yesterday, there's always a chance you could see a quick little feisty thunderstorm or maybe even a little spin up. But the bottom line is you have an intense spring storm system to deliver a multi-day severe weather episode to portions of the central and eastern U.S. So when we get this in the springtime, there's really nothing unusual about it. Guys, March, April, May, that is tornado season. That is the severe weather season. We've had many, many outbreaks over the last several decades of severe weather. And while this may pale in comparison to the April of 2011 outbreak across the Deep South, I still think we are looking at the potential for some widespread severe weather and some widespread tornadoes across the Deep South. Now, I do not believe that will include Florida, but it is still certainly something that we'll have to keep our eyes on, especially for folks traveling for spring break. So, I mean, bottom line, it's showing here on Friday, you've got an intense upper cyclones forecast to deepen as it tracks northeast across the southern central plains to the upper Midwest. You have an intense jet streak, and that's one of the pieces of energy when you get a severe weather outbreak. You almost always have a rather strong jet streak, and this one is greater than 100 knots at 500 millibars, and that's going to overspread that part of the country. At the same time, you've got a low-level jet, which will be intensifying to 65 plus knots. You get the combination of those two weather features, and you're looking at severe weather. You have intense surface cyclogenesis. Now, will it be bombogenesis, as we sometimes hear it called? Potentially. The difference is cyclogenesis is just area of low pressure developing. Bombogenesis is area of low pressure developing at a very rapid rate, much like rapid intensification of a hurricane in hurricane season. When you hear us talk about RI, rapid intensification, bombing out of a cyclogenesis or bombogenesis is really pretty much the same thing. It's just not happening over water. When you have a tropical cyclone developing, it's happening over land more often than not when you have a strong system. And the bottom line is that is going to produce some rather significant severe thunderstorms and potentially tornadoes. On Saturday, the upper low moves across into Canada, but large-scale upper trough remain over the plains. The plains trough will intensify, spread east. This will maintain the eastward progression of the strongly forced line of convection, in other words, the thunderstorms from the Ohio Valley south into the Deep South through Saturday night. portions of the Deep South into Georgia may see multiple rounds of severe convection. And that's what I want to talk about here. And we'll show you that on our map in a second. With a mix of both supercell and significant storm mode potentiality across the region, posing concern for damaging tornadoes and swath of severe wind. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about that. Here is a look at the GFS. All right, here's the GFS on Wednesday. Look at the storm system out west, right, moving into the west coast. That is where the energy is beginning to form. All right, so that's Wednesday. And then on Thursday, you see it's all cutting across. See the low developing across the plains? See how it's from the Rockies, and by Friday, you're seeing that development across the plains. All right? There is Saturday, and right on cue, that low is moving into Canada like the Weather Service was talking about. Check something here real quick. Hold on. As the low pulls north and pulls away, just a second. Okay, all right, that's what I was looking at. So, you know, as that pulls north, you've got, look at the blow up, boom, right there across the Deep South. So, you've got low pressure and a vigorous one at that moving into Canada with snow on the backside, by the way, for the Dakotas. Then, and by the way, for the record, I'm going to share this. So, at the end of the month, I'm presenting at a weather conference in Des Moines, Iowa. So, couldn't have it in Vegas, couldn't have it in LA, nothing against Des Moines, Iowa at all. But Des Moines, Iowa at the end of March, I'm not sure what kind of weather I'm going to be dealing with. Could be entertaining, might be kind of fun actually. If it's late winter, snow, possibly, we'll see. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to be presenting. I'm actually going to be, in a weather conference, I'm going to be talking about Helene and Milton. And not just about the hurricanes themselves, but how and this is a discussion we have had, and I'll continue to have this discussion. All right? Yeah, Adam, I talked about that at the top of the show. Where you been? Come on, Adam. Oh, Adam, workaholic. So you were working. All right. And we've known Adam's part of our group for a while. So, but anyway, so I'm going to be talking about, and we had this discussion. So every year we always say it's been 100 and some odd years since the Bay Area has been hit directly by a major hurricane, right? The last major hurricane to have landfall in the Bay Area was the Tarpon Springs hurricane in 1921. Now, I'm going to make the argument that we still have not had a landfalling major hurricane in the Bay Area, because Helene was 100 miles offshore, right? 100 miles offshore, so it did not make landfall in our area. We all know the surge, the devastation that we had when the surge, but we did not have a landfalling hurricane. And by the way, that's something to remember. Think about that. All the water we had with Helene, it was still over 100 miles offshore. When we were getting those surge numbers, and you guys remember, because a lot of y'all were right here, and we were having a lot of DPLs with tens of thousands of people watching. And we were getting those initial surge forecasts of 7, 8 feet. And I'll be honest, I didn't buy it. I'm like, what? We're going to get an 8 or 9 foot surge in a storm that never gets closer than 100 miles offshore? We did. And, you know, obviously that was 5 days out. Obviously, as it got closer, we knew it was going to happen. And, you know, there were all the storm surge warnings and the evacuations. And, you know, a lot of people evacuated, but unfortunately they had to deal with devastating flooding, surge. Yet, that storm was still over 100 miles offshore. Well, Milton made landfall in Siesta Key. So, is Siesta Key technically the Bay Area? I would argue no. I mean, that's just my opinion. But for us to say that a major hurricane hit the Bay Area directly last season, I would make the argument no. We had impacts, clearly. With Milton, we had 90, 95 mile an hour winds. But landfall was in Siesta Key. So I would argue maybe not. Anyway, so when I'm going to Des Moines, I'm going to be talking about the Bay Area, how Milton and Helene impacted it. And also I'm going to talk quite a bit about how social media is revolutionizing how you guys are getting your information. I mean, because we always hope you're watching social, you tune in when we do continuous coverage and you watch on broadcast, but we also know that you're out there on many, many different platforms, whether it's streaming like our streamers, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram like we're on right now, whether it's TikTok like we're on right now. There's lots and lots of different places for you guys to take part. And that is really what's happening now. But yeah, I would argue that we did not have a direct impact, landfall at least, in the Bay Area this last hurricane season. I would make that argument. So anyway, there's a look at Saturday. The low pulls into Minnesota, Wisconsin. And then you have the front. And look at the blow up of storms in central and western Tennessee, northern Alabama, and Mississippi. That is where a large chunk of your severe weather is going to be on Saturday. As I mentioned, I think there are going to be waves of severe weather. This is actually, what time is this? This is Saturday morning. Actually, it's Friday night. No, I'm lying. This is Saturday morning into early afternoon. There's your first blow up, okay? Not for Florida. Then that line moves into western North Carolina, northern Georgia. This is overnight Saturday night into Sunday morning and extending into Ohio. So that elongates a little bit and you still have that severe weather. And by the way, where's Sean? Look at that 540 line behind it. Yikes. There's the cold air yet again. But then you might have a little flare up along the eastern seaboard on Sunday afternoon. But in my opinion, the worst of this is Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon, pushing through Saturday night, and then winding down on Sunday. Look at Florida. All right, this is the GFS, by the way. Look at Florida. We don't get much. It gets much weaker as it approaches. And then there's your 540 line in central Georgia. We get another 1 day cool down. Another 1 day cool down. All right, that's the GFS. Let's look at spring break. Beautiful, maybe another front Thursday weakening as it comes through during spring break. But otherwise, pretty quiet. And then the GFS develops another potential area of severe weather. Wait a minute. Let's see when I'm going to Iowa. Oh, man, look, I'm going to be at... That's the day I'm supposed to go to Iowa, right there. Cold and snowy. It might be fun. All right, that's the Euro. That's the GFS. Let's look at the Euro. See how it differs. Wednesday, still got your big storm out west. Thursday, low pressure developing. It's a little bit slower. It's a little bit slower than the GFS. There's your plain storm developing. No, but the severe threat is identical. Oh, wait a minute. Stand by. You know it's coming. Anybody who watches the show. Because it looks like the GFS and Euro are identical, to quote my cousin Vinny. Because that is a movie I quote quite often. Identical. Actually, that's what he does. He does identical. Because he's talking about the tire tracks. Remember? Tire tracks from the movie, identical. All right, anyway, let's get back. So they are identical. And that means timing, GFS and Euro are both in agreement, as is SPC, because I showed you that a little while ago, that we are looking at another potential round of severe weather. Saturday evening, Saturday afternoon. Euro might be a little slower than the GFS, but the time frame still looks like Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. That is overnight, Saturday night, all across Alabama, into the Carolinas, into West Virginia, Kentucky. And then it continues to push, and it moves into, and I'll show you this in a second, it moves into the panhandle of Florida as well. Overnight, Saturday night, Sunday morning. And then you still have additional development all along the eastern seaboard into Monday, as you might have a secondary little low develop off South Carolina. So then you've got another round from the Delmarva through the Carolinas, the Outer Banks, and that front swings through Florida. So the Euro is a little more vigorous with this line coming through our area, and it's also slower. That's Monday morning. So the Euro brings it through our area Monday morning to Monday afternoon. And by the way, look what the Euro then does. Look at that little spin. Look at that little thing up there. It doesn't do anything, but look at that little spin. Brings back memories. All right, so there's the Euro on Monday. The GFS, though, there's Sunday, Monday morning. It's already gone. So, yeah, the GFS is definitely faster than the Euro. Now, how does that impact us directly? Let's go ahead and look at Florida. This is the GFS. This is Thursday. So Wednesday, and we'll do our local forecast in just a second. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning, Sunday evening, Monday morning, the front comes through with the GFS, and then through. And then another weak front potentially next Thursday. And then it does something even farther out. So let's talk a little bit more about our weather in terms of how it's going to impact. Somebody's asking for the Euro AI. You know what? All right. Wait a minute, that was also from my cousin Vinny. All right. When does he say it? The other attorney says that. Oh, it's something about when he's checking with Marissa Tomei and seeing if she's an expert witness. All right. Oh, yeah, that's right. Says, I'm sure you'll be more than satisfied with her expert. He's like, all right. Miss Vito, what is the correct timing? It's one of those movies when it's on TV. Look, I'll either watch The Water Boy or My Cousin Vinny. It's on all the time, and I watch it all the time. I just do. Let's go ahead and look at the Euro AI. Okay, so I'm going to the Bolts game on Monday, Adam. I'm actually kind of excited. They're taking on the Flyers. I will be at that game. All right, let's go ahead and call the Euro AI up. Ask and ye shall receive. Euro AI. Euro AI did awesome for a hurricane season. It really did better. And by the way, for folks who aren't familiar with what the Euro AI is, we've talked about it a lot during hurricane season, but imagine you have 100 years of data and you just stick it in a computer and just every bit of weather data that you can come up with, all right? And you have all of those analogs, all of those comparisons from current weather situation to what might have happened 84 years ago. The Euro AI takes, and I agree with the philosophy a lot. I mean, it makes sense. If you have all this data and you found a very, very similar situation 40 years ago to what's happening now, and you compare it, there's a good chance you're going to see a repeat performance, at least something close. That's what the Euro AI does. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the Euro AI close. So here it is. This is Wednesday, Thursday. You got your low development. There's your low across the plains on Friday. It's not showing up precip on this run for some reason, though. It's bad data. But boy, look at that 540 line. So it looks about the same in terms of the upper levels. You got your 540 dropping all the way down to central Louisiana. Holy cow. The Euro AI is more aggressive with the cold. It's bringing the 540 line, the freezing line, to Florida, to Panama City on Monday morning. So there you go. And then it also brings that little low, zoop, that little spin thing, zoop, off the coast. So there's your Euro AI. Let's go back and quickly give an overview of what we've got locally. No GFS AI yet, Rich. Nope. All right, here we go. There's a look current. Right now, temperatures. We're all local now. We gave you the overview of the severe weather threat. Now we're all local. 60s to low 70s right now. What a beautiful day, right? The wind will come down a little bit. The dynamics of the atmosphere is such that when you get wind in the atmosphere, it causes mixing and makes it harder for the temperatures to cool. So when we have a calm night and a clear night, the winds go calm. you have the atmosphere is better at radiationally cooling, so it can get cooler. When it's windy, it mixes stuff up around and makes it a little harder to get colder, but you then have wind chill, so a lot of times it feels about the same. But technically, you usually get a little colder on a calm night than if it's windy. Anyway, there's a look at highs today. We hit the mid to upper 70s, 77 in Tampa, Plant City 77, up near 80 in Highlands County. All right, oh, wow, look at that sunset. That is gorgeous. Clear, 66 degrees right now at the airport in Tampa with west winds at 7 miles an hour. We hit 77, that's exactly where we are supposed to be. Rich, we use all models. There's the German model, there's the Japanese model, there's the Canadian model. I mean, all of these places create their own models. And, you know, as meteorologists, look, we're just trying to get the weather right. We don't care where it comes from. We just want to get the weather right. And I like it, I've said this a million times, I liken models to a run on the craps table. You know, I've never had one. I've only played craps 3 times. I've lost every time. But I hear they have such a thing that there's a run. And they just keep winning and keep winning. Just like if you're playing baseball and you're on a hot streak. No matter what you do, the ball's going to find a hole. But on the other side of the coin, when the models are cold, you just can't get a hit. Or you roll 7 every time. You get it? So we look for the hot models because we look for the hot models, as I'm sure a lot of the men out there have in their past. But you look for the hot computer models, and yes, that does happen, and you sometimes can find it and get a little more accuracy. But I don't care where they're from, as long as they're right. That's my take. All right, so there's a look at the satellite. All's quiet, beautiful day today, clear tonight, chilly again. We're going to drop in the 40s and 50s yet again. Jill, thank you very much for the stars. As always, all stars, proceeds benefit Children's Miracle Network. Tasty tacos in Des Moines. You know what? Courtney, I will go because I know nothing about Des Moines. So if you're telling me I should go to Tasty Tacos when I'm in Des Moines, I'm going to do it. I really will because I love Mexican food. All right, Thursday morning, we have more of a southerly flow developing, and that's going to eventually warm up our temperatures significantly. All right? Futurecast, Friday, partly sunny. Here's tomorrow morning. It will not be windy, but it will be chilly. What's my opinion on spring break travel? I think you're fine. Brandon, the only travel problems will be Saturday late into Sunday, maybe early Monday. Outside of that, you're all good. Tomorrow morning, mid to upper 40s, northern counties, and we're talking Pasco, Hernando, Citrus, clear skies, calmer winds. Diane got my hot models comment. I'm glad somebody did. 47 Wesley Chapel, 46 Dade City, 47 Brooksville. Even our southern counties are going to drop into the mid to upper 40s. A very chill, Duet, 48. Sarasota, warmer by the water, 54, 55 in Bradenton. All right. Rainfall, nothing. Driving to Pensacola Saturday from Tampa. You'll be okay on Saturday, Ashley. Saturday night, late Sunday morning, maybe. Late morning on Saturday, Brad? Nope, I don't think so. You'll be fine. You'll be fine traveling late morning on Saturday in Atlanta. We're good through Saturday. The rain chances return late Sunday, and there it is. You're in the upper 80s on Sunday, a high of 70 on Monday as that cold air comes in behind the front. There it is. Typically in March, these cold air masses last for 1 day. Joe wants to know about Lakeland. Lakeland will be sunny, upper 70s right through Thursday, mid 80s on Friday and Saturday, some rain Sunday night into early on Monday. Don't expect any fog, David. Good question. Spring break outside of Monday's chill and rain will be beautiful for the boaters, north winds. Your sunrise tomorrow morning, 7:43, sunset at 7:37. Savannah Bananas game will be gorgeous. I will be there. So hopefully I will see you at the Savannah Bananas game at Ray J on Saturday night. It will be clear, it will be pleasant with temperatures in the 70s. And there's the 7-day. Rain and storms Sunday night into early Monday, potentially a couple of feisty storms. But tomorrow morning, we start 50s, we end mid-70s. We're back in the mid to upper 80s through Saturday, and then a cool down Monday and Tuesday, back up to 80 in the middle 80s. Streamers, Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow night on DPL Plus. Hope to see you then. Okay, streamers are gone. Deanna wants to know, what is a grit? How do you eat the grits? Oh, what's a grit made of? Oh, it's hominy, made of corn. Love that movie. All right, so there is your 7-day, and it's looking good. So let's recap. All right, severe weather, deep south, Saturday. Day 4, right here. There's the severe weather. Day 5. There's day 4. There's day 5. All right? That's Sunday. Alabama, northwestern Georgia. Even when I say Alabama, I think of my cousin Vinny. You're in Alabama. Or Forrest Gump. So day 4, Ohio Valley Plains, deep south. That's day 4 severe weather. 30% risk of severe weather in the brown shaded area, which is a moderate risk. Day 5, moderate risk extends down to Georgia. That's Sunday. That would include Atlanta, but that's like Sunday afternoon, late morning, early afternoon. Saturday would be okay for those who asked. And even extending into the Panhandle. Look at that. Extending down into Pensacola, Panama City. All right, day 6, slight chance along the East Coast, and for us, potential too low. All right, so I think that is about it, guys. I want to thank our new sponsor, Generex, as well as Storm Smart. And tomorrow we will be back with Sean Daly on DPL Plus. Thursday will be much closer to the event. I think we can kind of get down to specifics on where the severe threat will be greatest on, not for us, not for the Bay Area. We're talking Alabama, Louisiana. Well, again, I'll show you one more time. The greatest threat on Saturday is right here. Actually, Friday is right here. That's Friday. That's Saturday. That is Sunday into Monday. Of course, I know that song, Alexandria. It's a great song. I love that song. Have you ever seen the rain? It's a good one. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. Appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow night and again on Thursday. As we start getting more into hurricane season, we're going to have more guests talking about hurricane prep, hurricane safety. I know that's what a lot of folks after last year are really nervous about. So we're going to be all over keeping you informed, not just on where storms are going to go and how they're going to develop and all that stuff, but how you stay prepared in advance so maybe you don't have to go through the nightmare that we did last year, which was, it was a nightmare. So thanks for stopping by. I didn't have to use the band button today. It's just sitting there. That's kind of sad. I kind of enjoy using it. You guys have a great night, and we'll see you on our next edition of Dennis Phillips Live. See you guys tomorrow night on DPL Plus.